MOBA players away is the weight, coming in at about 120 grams. It's too far beyond the usual 100 grams, and the aluminium version is even heavier at 127 grams. So make sure you choose the right one. Some people do like heavier mice though, so this is for them. And it is a big mouse, so maybe the extra weight is a good thing. The weight distribution does seem good though, it's fairly well balanced. The shape really is comfortable. Here's a tour of the design so you know what it looks like. The left side is the most interesting, as you can choose from one of 3 grips. If you want to have a thumb rest, you can. The slight thumb rest option is fairly comfortable too, but I prefer having a flat side, so I use this one. They're just held in by light magnets and have rubberized textures. They feel really good, but the design does create an issue with the side buttons. Maybe it's something we would have to get used to. It just seems awkward to have a gap like that. I'm used to resting my thumb and then just slightly moving it up to get to the buttons. I mean, they're usable, but to me, this is the unsafe part of the mouse. The buttons just don't feel comfortable. The travel is okay though. Looking at the right side, it's a fairly flat surface with only subtle curves for comfort and grip, and again it has rubberized textures. Personally, I prefer the other side's texture though, the flat one, but it still feels pretty good in game. And the top is a nice big rounded area with slight comfort grooves in the buttons. It feels great with the rubberized texture, but that means we question durability. But other than some oil marks, it should last well enough. And Corsair are usually good with quality, so I'm hoping it will be durable. So the mouse is a combination of high quality plastic, rubber and metal. Metal is nice quality wise, but I don't think it's worth the extra weight. And just quickly, the mouse feet are large and they glide smoothly. The cable is about 1.8 meters long, braided and a bit stiff. It's fairly smooth, it's just lacking flexibility. It wasn't an issue in a mouse bungee while in game though. So I still really like Corsair quality, and in my opinion, this shape is the best of their range so far. I'm just not sure if the target market will want that weight. If your hands are large enough for this mouse, let me know what you think in the comments. So you know the size of it, here it is next to the Zowie FK2, a small medium mouse, and a Razer Death Adder, which is a large mouse. It's definitely closest to the Death Adder size, but because of the flatter shape.
Red LEDs, what's going on guys? How are we today? We're not very excited. Am I the first exciting speaker to come on today? Come on guys, get excited. We're going to give away some prizes, as always we do here. My name is Chris Smith, aka Mayo. We do once again have some prizes, as we always do, to give away. Just want a round of applause quickly for Rocket Jump Ninja, who was just on there as well. Make sure you check him out on Twitter at Rocket Jump Ninja, as well as YouTube. He's a fantastic reviewer from Australia, reviews keyboards and mice. So what I'm here to talk to you today is not about my gaming addiction or how I got over World of Warcraft, but it's about how to pick a good mouse. Who here likes video games? You don't have to show your hands. Come on, who here likes video games? Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Who here likes to play League of Legends? Dota 2? CSGO. Yeah, Overwatch. A bit of a split between CSGO and Overwatch. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm here to do today is talk to you guys about a topic that I talked about many years ago at the old TGF when it was called CGBC, which is about picking a mouse that's more dank than memes. So what you need to take into consideration when you're trying to pick a mouse is quite a few different qualities. So here you've got the purpose, the sensor, the features, and the price. Who here owns what they think is the absolute best gaming mouse? Cool. Keep it in your mind because I'll be asking you questions later on about it. So taking a look here, the few different things to think about is the purpose. We already talked about that. We like video games, don't we? Yes? I feel like I'm speaking at church. Come on, we like video games, don't we? Yes, that's good. So what kind of video games? I've already asked you guys about that. Think about the sensor. You have to think about the features, exactly how many buttons you want, and also the price. So if we go to the next slide, please. All right, what do you need it for? Does anyone know who this character is on the right? Pink guy, yes, exactly. So this is one of my friends at RF LAN in Perth, which is on this weekend, the Australia's biggest LAN party. If you guys do ever want to go over, it's got 1,000 people bring their own PCs into one hall and play together. I think that's pretty cool. So, what do you need it for? Overall purpose. We talked about playing video games. Maybe if you're just using it for Word and Facebook, you don't need a dank 3,500 DPI, 400 different color RGB Red LED mouse. What's your grip style? Can anybody explain to me what a different grip style is? Can anyone put their hand up and talk about different mouse grip styles? We do have a microphone here. Once again, some people who answer questions will get to win some prizes. We do have a Corsair Strafe RGB keyboard, Cherry MX mechanical, And we also have an MM300 extended mouse pad that is about as long as your car. Yes, sir. What can you tell us?
So there's like stuff like how people hold their mouses and stuff like that, like different positions. Can you say stuff like that?
Yes, exactly. Can
So,
you
like,
elaborate?
Yeah. So could you say like the claw people hold like this, or people can be like more relaxed and hold it like that, or people like tend to hold it like that. So like that's called the claw, that's called strategy, and that's called relaxed.
Yeah, so very similar. So what most people say is there's the claw grip, which you talked about, where you hold your mouse like a claw. It's often used by people like StarCraft players with smaller mice with high DPIs. You can flick the mouse around. There's other styles like relaxed or palm grip, which is what I use. Who here plays CSGO? Who here uses a low sensitivity? Me, a couple of us. So what I am is an arm player. So I use my arm and I use quite a low sensitivity. So for me to do a 180 when I was playing semi-professionally, I'd have to move from about here on my mousepad over to here, which is why something like the MM300 will help you out. And then there's also things like the fingertip grip, and there's a couple of different iterations of them. So round of applause, thank you. What games? All right, so different games, what I talked about. I come from a CSGO background, used to play in top 6 teams in Australia, and I used palm grip with low sensitivity. So if you guys think about it, these are the things that you're starting to take into your head. When we listened to Rocket Jump Ninja's presentation before as well, he was talking about different grip types, different mice, different weights as well, depending on what they want to do. So these are all things that you guys can think about in your head to stop doing what some of my other friends have done and purchase 15 plus mice before they find the one that they actually like. And then also, what's your play style? So we talked about that before. You don't want to get yourself a massive, big, heavy mouse if you're, you know, a 17-year-old, 30-kilo person trying to play. And for someone like me, I don't want to give myself a tiny mouse because my hand is way too big. So it's not going to work. It's going to make my hands cramp. We'll go to the next slide. All right, unknown performance gains. So on the right-hand side here, we have Jake, who's a professional player for Avant-Garde, who Corsair sponsors in League of Legends. Who likes to play support? About 3 people. Yeah, I guess that. Who likes to actually put down wards? Even less people. Okay. So Jake is a professional support player for Team Avant-Garde. He plays League of Legends full-time as a professional gamer, and he uses the Corsair Scimitar Pro mouse, which we'll talk about later. So, different sensors. We have laser versus optical. And then I've got listed here the Corsair Glaive mouse, which you guys can check out at the booth over the back. Uses the Pixart PMW3367 sensor. So this is one thing that a lot of people, which is why I listed as unknown, a lot of people don't take this into account, is different sensors have different applications. So if we could just skip ahead and roll the video quickly, you'll see an example of what some bad sensors might look like, once again by Rocket Jump Ninja.
Hey everyone, quick update thanks to David Drury, I hope I'm saying that right. He pointed this out yesterday to me. So there's a sensor problem with a lot of the top sensors and the other sensors too. So that's with the 3310, 3988, 3989, 3090, 3050, 3307, and probably a few others.
I will expect you to remember all of these numbers later. There will be a test.
And the only ones that don't have the issue are the ones with the 9800 laser sensor and the 3360 and 3366 optical. Basically what you'll see me do in this video is flick, but with the mouse starting on an angle. So if you lift the mouse on the left side, but keep the right side touching, and then perform a standard flick, these sensors will lose track and spin out. You've seen in my videos, I can swipe the 3310 and 3988 as fast as I can, and it won't lose track. But starting from an angled position, they do spin out. Also, don't try this too much, as slapping the mice on the pads can probably cause damage. But it's unlikely that most people will ever do this in game. And that brings us to the final question. Is this a problem? Yes, it is. But it's not common enough to really worry about. After testing all these mice, this is the first I've ever noticed it. And it's only because David pointed it out. If not for that, I probably would never have known it. Still, if you're finding a good sensor is spinning out, check if you're slapping the mouse down from an angled position. It might be a case of fixing up your technique. Or, I guess wait until the right mouse comes out with the 3360 sensor. I debated doing this video because I don't want to scare you all away from great mice. Seriously, I use these mice a lot, and I don't have problems. But it's something the sensor manufacturers should probably address in the future. So yes, it's a problem, but not a big problem, and it's probably very rare. But it's better to know, so at least if you do come across it, you'll understand what's going on. And I think it is just a matter of it can't handle fast swipes, as it's getting back to tracking. Meaning when a sensor gets put back down on the surface, it starts to try to get its bearings again, and if you move it really quickly, it's too fast to actually get a track of it. Whereas I guess the 3360 is probably getting it really quickly, so it doesn't matter how fast you swipe it down afterward, it's already starting to track again. Anyway, hope that helps. Again, thanks to David for pointing it out, and I'll catch you in the next video.
All right, so that helps give you guys an idea. If we can just go back a couple of slides again, back to the sensor. Yeah, so that just gives you guys an idea of different sensors that you should look out for. So for those of you in the audience who put your hand up before and said you use low DPI, I came across exactly that issue many years ago when sensors were a lot older. Was every single time I tried to do a 180-degree flick when I was trying to be absolute pro MLG quickscope and kill someone behind me, my mouse would spin out, I'd look at the ground, and then I'd get killed. You know, obviously rage happens. Who here has broken a mouse before? Couple of people. A monitor? A desk? I have seen it before, but I haven't done it myself. All right. So, yeah, you guys should probably calm down a little bit in video games. So, you guys have seen different types of sensors, what they look like. Also, laser versus optical. So, a laser sensor is something that came in really big a few years ago. A lot of brands were using it because it gives you a whole lot of DPI with lower technology and a cheaper price. Can anybody explain to me in the audience why a whole lot of DPI isn't necessarily a great thing and why a lot of people don't necessarily even use really high DPI? Yep, got one over here.
I can tell you why lasers are bad.
Yeah, go for it. Tell us what you know.
Right, so lasers known to not have perfectly scaled tracking. So as you move your hand, you might move it 2 centimeters, but if you move it at a different speed, so let's say you travel that 2 centimeters in a second, that'll be different to if you travel that 2 centimeters in 2 seconds. But with optical sensors, no matter how fast you move, it only counts how far you moved.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is mouse acceleration. And one thing I urge all you people to do is when you go home, go into your Windows control panel, go into your settings and make sure you turn Enhance Mouse Precision or Enhance Pointer Precision off. Because that's one thing that, like you were saying, is hard-coded into a lot of laser mice and is also something on Windows. So a big part of gaming professionally or even just getting better when you're doing your placements is you want to have the best muscle memory possible. But if you have something like Enhanced Pointer Precision on, anytime you try to do a flick faster or slower, your mouse is going to move more or less on the screen depending, and that's going to mess up. So another advantage of optical over laser, with optical now coming back in, is that optical can work on many different surfaces. So sometimes different mouse pads, thankfully not this one, but as you can see, this one is nice and grey. Some have, yellow colours, some are white, etc. And that will actually stuff the sensor up a little bit. So sometimes when you're moving your mouse over the mouse pad, it's going to mess you up. Can someone explain to me, for the Corsair MM300 prize, why a mouse pad is something you should definitely be using in your PC? Yeah, right up the back there, right up the back. Where? Yeah, the guy has his hand up, right up the back. Meanwhile, who wants some more prizes? Come on, guys. This has probably been the quietest year so far, I think. Winning ourselves some Corsair stress balls. Later on, make sure you come and check me out over in the other building because I will be finishing a PC which is worth about $3,000 with a 1080 inside it, and we can have a chat about what's in the PC at the same time. But yeah, for the prize of the mousepad, can you please explain to me why a mousepad is necessary for use?
Probably about friction and it's easier to move the mouse across a softer surface than a harder surface.
Yes, exactly. So, give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We'll put this one back. We'll give it to him when we're finished. So, you want to have a consistent surface. I was just talking about how with the mouse pad, with different sensors, sometimes they stuff up. Laser won't work on glass, for example, where optical almost always will. And then depending on what you're using it on, it might screw up. So, exactly. So, once again, round of applause. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead a couple of slides yet again. All right, what do you really need? So this is the Corsair Scimitar mouse, as you can see on the side. There's a lot of side buttons. Who reckons they can use all of those side buttons? What kind of game, could someone yell out to me, what kind of game would be useful for that many side buttons? Just yell it out, give me some names. Here in World of Warcraft? Minecraft? Yep. Anything with a toolbar? Yes, exactly. So, what do you really need? We have I have a repeat there, but you can see the big money saver. So, If you're playing a game like Counter-Strike where you maybe need 2 side buttons, one for talking in Discord and yelling at your teammates about how much better than them you are, and one for selecting a flashbang and throwing it, you're not necessarily going to need 10 buttons that might get in your way. Because a game like Counter-Strike, you want some pinpoint precision, you want maybe a smaller mouse or a medium-sized mouse for you to be able to really feel out those headshots and tell everyone in matchmaking different things about their mothers. What service are you using? It's exactly the same. So if you're really stuck on a laser sensor, because a mouse, all in all of this taken away is about how it feels for you, okay? So that's why you have companies like Corsair coming to events like this. Make sure you guys rock up, go to Centrecom down the road, go to whatever other PC store. Before you buy a mouse, ask your mates, go and touch it and see what it's like. Ask them first, but then go and touch it. So what surface are you using? Once again, if you're using a laser mouse and say you have a glass desk and you can't afford a mouse pad right now, that's perfectly okay. It just means that you should probably consider an optical instead, not a laser. So hopefully you guys take something away from this presentation today. We'll go to the next slide. Understanding branding and more. So who's ever had a friend who's gone and bought a super expensive, say, PC just because of the name of the PC and it has some dank LEDs and it turns out it's got a 770 Ti in it and an i3 and they can't play Minecraft? Yeah. Okay. So one of the reasons for getting a mouse is actually having a look at the branding and more. Taking into account the price versus the features and all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that picking a mouse you need to do a 10,000 word essay on. You need to present it to your parents beforehand and then go and do a speech in front of Mensa to get it approved. But just take into consideration some of the different things. You don't have to own the absolute best products to win at games. A lot of the people I used to sponsor in StarCraft are using no mouse pad. They're using a cheap, say, Corsair Harpoon mouse, which is $59 that you can see there. Because if you have a look at something like the Harpoon and use all of the things that I was just explaining, it's got 2 side buttons. It's got a perfectly good Avago sensor inside it. It's got a nice scroll wheel. It's got different profiles. It's got RGB. Come on, who likes LEDs? Yeah. It's Corsair. It's Corsair, it's got RGB, of course. Or, you want to spend a bit more, you want something like the Corsair Glaive, which we have over the back. It has 3 different attachments for the side. You can change it depending on your grip style. It's got a bunch more LEDs. Like, look at these cool headlights on the front. 16.8 million colors, for example. You can store all your macros on it, take it to your friend's house, do what you want with it. Or something like the Scimitar Pro. Say you want 400,000 macro keys in World of Warcraft. You want to press one button, go to the toilet, drive down to the shops, ring your mum, come back, and it's still working. You can get something like that, pair it up with a Corsair K95, bling out your PC, get an MM800 mouse pad, which is RGB, because RGB all the things. Grab yourself an RGB headset stand, monitor, away you go. So, the big money saver. What features do you really need? Why do certain brands matter? So one of the big things that Rocket Jump Ninja talked about in there is quality. He talks about the Corsair quality. If you go and check out his mechanical keyboard roundup for the top 20, top 10 mechanical keyboards in the world, you'll notice that most of them that he ranks highly, he talks all about quality. So while it's okay to pay a little bit more for some products, you want to make sure that you're paying for something that actually matters. So take, for example, the Corsair Glaive RGB. It feels quite solid in the hand. You can't twist it back and forward. When you click the buttons, it resonates quite nicely. The buttons don't wobble around. The DPI button feels nice and the scroll wheel's nice and smooth. So if you take all those things, hey, it's me. If you take all those things into account, you can think about that. We'll just go to the next slide. No, we won't. Maybe we will. Who likes red LEDs? Yeah, red LEDs. There we go. Here's one I prepared earlier. Who needs the switch when you can do this? Oi. All right, you get a prize, you get a prize. Everyone gets a prize. We'll get the mic man to run it again. And we'll go to the next slide. No, back a couple then. Are we missing one? Hey. What should you consider? So, to win the Strafe RGB mechanical keyboard, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Throw this. Look at that one. So if you guys do want to win the Strafe RGB mechanical keyboard, fresh in the box, this has Cherry MX, which keyboards? Cherry MX silent switches. So if you don't want to wake people up, or say if you're a bit of a Twitch streamer, does anyone here do content creation at all? Perfect. These are absolutely perfect because you get the mechanical feel without the crazy loud noise. So you don't wake people up and they and you can't hear your keys while you're typing, could somebody tell me what should you consider? What are some of the main features, the price, anything you should consider for a game like Counter-Strike Global Offensive? And for those of you guys who follow CSGO, this is an American team sponsored by Corsair, but we do have an Aussie on the side here, Rika, who is traveling all over the US, clicking heads right now playing Counter-Strike. So we want to pick, let's pick someone, this guy up the back with the ready shirt on, yeah, with the glasses, yep. Let's see what he has to say. And guys, think about your answers because we do have some more prizes to give away soon. And we do have a second game. You can see on the side.
So
all right, take it away.
You need a decent refresh rate on the monitor to actually avoid certain things. A keyboard that is actually responsive, as well as you can actually spam the key as much as you need to, but not overly. And a good mouse to actually be able to aim accurately would be useful, and a mouse pad in case you don't have the right surface for most things.
All right, perfect. Can we get a round of applause? Can anybody else add to this? Can anybody else add some more? We've got down the front just here. We'll get someone else to add some more info. What else do you have to take into account when playing a game like CSGO? We'll keep it specific to the mouse this time. That was a great answer before. We'll add some more to it.
So like what the guy was saying before about the laser ones not working on some surfaces or something, or I think you said something about the glass tables and the surface you work on, if you're getting too much friction, it's going to affect your ability to turn around and stuff. And I think DPI, that's the same as sensitivity. So yeah, that's going to affect, like, if you're swiping too far, you're going to be missing targets, and you want to be precise so you can get the headshots.
Yes, get the headshots indeed. All right, give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. He has won himself a Strafe RGB keyboard. Enjoy. Hold it up for the photo. All right. I do have another special prize sitting down the back, which you guys can win. So, we want to know, who here plays World of Warcraft still? Yeah, we got a few. All right, so I want to know, when you're looking at a mouse, what's something you should take into account when you're playing a game like World of Warcraft? We'll go the guy at the back of the three that's just up there.
You probably want bulk macros for all your potions and whatnot, so that you can get exactly what you need when you're in the heat of the battle. You're probably not too worried about precision. There's nothing really you need to be too precise with. You also want it to be comfortable because you're probably going to be playing for like several hours, let's be honest. You don't want your hand getting cramped up or anything.
All right, thank you very much. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I got one stress ball left. Let's throw it away. All right. Before we wrap up with a cool little video, I just wanted to remind you guys once again that at about 2:45ish, I will be at the back. I will be assembling or reassembling a half-broken PC, which is about $2 to $3 grand worth. Has an Asus 1080 in it, a nice Asus $800 motherboard in there, an i7, etc., etc. So you guys can come and have a look at all the custom cabling I'm working on and all that kind of stuff. And once again, I'll be talking at 1 p.m. every single day up on the main stage here, and then doing some other workshops at the back. Got a bunch of prizes to give away every single day. Who likes prizes? Come on. If you don't get excited, you don't win. So, exactly. So, if you've got friends who didn't come yesterday and are thinking, maybe should I go? Yes, I've got all the dank memes. Come and look at them. Come and win some prizes. Yeah, you guys would have been given little slips of paper as well when you sign in this morning. If you weren't, go and grab them. You get to vote about what I talk about tomorrow. So, for those of you who do some content creation, for those of you who want to run an esports team, those of you who want to get free stuff from sponsors rather than me just throwing them out in the audience, make sure you vote. Put it in the ballot, we'll draw it out, and I'll quickly drum up a present you guys are actually interested in, because who wants to sit here watching stuff they're not interested in? All right, so round of applause for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. We'll watch a video by Avant-Garde doing the very infamous bottle flip, but with a little bit of a twist, and then afterwards we will have one of my good friends, Chris, who will come and talk to you guys about esports and also some streaming. Thank you very much.
I've done this before. So you've got to get the bottom nice and straight so that when you flip it, it sticks.
Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. 14's quite impressive, honestly. This thing might die before I accomplish this. Look at this. Tile pounds. And
Okay. Yeah. That's my advice.
Yeah.
Squash the bottom into it. See how it's going to fall over? Squash it so like it's going to land on it. I hit it properly.
Did you just look at the chocolate? Let's let him stop. Come on.
Yeah, it's 75 stop.
What, you said 50?
What are you at?
Okay, it's broken. It's broken. I'm sorry. That's just. The first person is just eating the next. It's just wanted to eat again. Everyone else is just like straining in the flips. So you really didn't taste it.
No, well, why would you throw it if the bolt wasn't flat? Like,
They wasn't even painting against the table. Can't come up there. In one go.
is that throw fair? I was kind of close. I'll go again.
What's your go again? Go get another one.